We come to a really fascinating topic today that deals with the omniscience of God and the unthinkability of the abomination of killing, child killing, if you will, that we find in the Old Testament. Before I get into that today, though, as we've been recording these sessions, I've often asked you to go to the website, take a look around, educate yourself on what it is that we do, maybe consider hosting a dinner or a dessert in your home. Maybe introduce us to your missions pastor. Maybe sign up for a newsletter. But today I want to encourage you along one line in particular, and that is for those of you who may have thought about making some sort of financial commitment to the work of Passion Life. We have an incredible opportunity ahead of us for the months of April, May, and June. For these 3 months alone, anyone who has never made a financial gift to Passion Life, that gift will be tripled by an anonymous major donor who will be doing that for us up to, I think, $15,000 worth of new giving. He will make a gift that will match that. So this is an incredible opportunity if you have been thinking about getting involved with the financial backing of Passion Life so that you can be part of our support team as we go all over the world. This is a great time to do that. So, of course, going back to the topic at hand, today we're going to be talking about the omniscience of God, the all-knowing power of God. We're going to be talking a little bit about the inerrancy of Scripture and what that means when we talk about Scripture being inerrant. And we have a couple of Bible verses that we're going to take a look at. And the first one is actually this one from Psalm 113 and verse 3. This is a very famous Bible passage, a Bible verse. It says, "From the rising of the sun to its setting, the name of the Lord is to be praised." Some people who would like to prove that the Bible is full of errors and has problems with it, and who are trying to be literal or intentional with trying to dig up pugnacious arguments about the inerrancy of Scripture, would say the sun does not rise, nor does the sun set. This is an error in the Bible because it says that the sun rises and sets, and we know from science that actually it is the spinning of the earth that causes the appearance of the sun to rise and set. The sun does not revolve around the earth and rise and set. And the argument that we would use here is that sometimes the literary device of the perspective of the writer is being employed so that you can use everyday, ordinary, relatable language to be able to describe an event. In this case, as we stand on this earth, whether we know or that the sun does not rise or set, we all say that it does. We all say, come over and look at this sunset. We all say, come over and look at this sunrise. From our perspective, that is the way that it appears. So it's not necessarily wrong to describe the sun as rising and setting, as long as you realize this is the perspective of a biblical writer, and God is willing to use that perspective in order to convey a point. Then we come to a passage that really fascinates and trips up. For some people, it trips them up. For some people, it causes them to have great pause or consternation as they try to grasp the meaning of this particular Bible verse. And that one is from Jeremiah chapter 32. And we use this passage quite often when we're doing our teaching about abortion overseas. A lot of the chapter, the 32nd chapter of the book of Jeremiah goes into the sins of the Israelites, the children of Israel, and how they became more and more wicked over time, following even their neighbors and the pagan Canaanite culture around them into the most repulsive, spiritually repulsive of behaviors. And the one that seems to get a heavy amount of attention is the repulsive behavior to God of child sacrifice. We know that there was lots of child sacrifice in those early Canaanite religions and cultures, and the Israelites eventually began to mimic those cultures by sacrificing their own children. We pointed out in the last recording that they were actually sacrificing them in the name of worship. So that means to false gods, since God has never commanded us to worship him with the sacrifice of our own children. This passage is explicit. It's detailed. A lot of the things that are said are just so heart-wrenching because God is hammering away at the preeminent moral evil of child sacrifice. And he caps a lot of what he's saying with this verse. This is verse 35. They built the high places of Baal in the valley of the son of Hinnom to offer up their sons and their daughters to Molech. Though I did not command them, nor did it enter into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin. The phrase, nor did it enter into my mind, trips up a lot of people because we know that God knows everything. He is omniscient. He is all-knowing. Nothing takes him by surprise. Past, present, and future. We're the ones who are surprised by what happens. God is never surprised by what happens. But what God is doing here is he is using metaphorical language to exaggerate, if you will, or put a special literary emphasis on how horrible the idea of child sacrifice is to him. He says, in essence, I didn't command them to do it, nor did it enter into my mind that they would do it, because this thing that they are doing is so unthinkably evil that it is shocking to the conscience, and it is shocking to me as the holy and righteous God of the universe, that they should go to this great length. Did God know that they would sacrifice their children? Yes. But the point of today's lesson is that God will use language that we can relate to. Visceral, everyday, gut level human language to create an urgency in us to listen to the weight of his words. I did not command them to sacrifice their children to Molech, nor did it enter into my mind that they would ever have the gall to do something this terrible. Child sacrifice is treated in the Bible as a preeminently unthinkable moral atrocity.